Hello, welcome to the Internet Chess Club. I am Grandmaster Miguel Illescas, and we are going to analyze Game 5 of the World Championship match, which is taking place in Dubai between the world champion Magnus Carlsen and the challenger, the Russian young Nepomniachtchi. Let's go to see this game. It started with the move e4, as it happened, in fact, in all the games where Nepo was white. This is the third time that we see the Ruy Lopez on the board. If you are interested to know a bit more about these moves, about this particular opening, I suggest you watch the videos on Game 1 especially. Also, we were talking a bit in Game 3. Here we will not repeat the same, and we will go directly to the moment where the players deviate from the previous games. You know, here Magnus is trying to play the martial attack with c3 d5, this gambit. And in the first game, Nepo went h3 to avoid it, but already in game number 3 and today also in game number 5, we saw the move a4. Here, white is of course threatening to take, and black has three main moves. The most played, the most popular is b4, which didn't happen today. In the previous game, we saw the second most natural move, bishop b7. But today, Magnus' choice was rook b8, the third main line in this position. What can I say? Its reputation, it's not so good as the other two moves, and today we will see why. One of the reasons is that white gets full control on the a file. Now this rook is playing, and the next move, move number 10, came as a surprise for the world champion. So far, they were both playing quite fast, but after h3, he became to think. What is the point of this move h3? I mean, main theory goes c3, and here black has a choice. Usually they play d6, but I would not be surprised that Magnus' preparation could be d5, going into some kind of martial gambit, where white sacrifice, and here black can play c6 or bishop b7. In both cases, getting some nice counterplay for the pawn. But, of course, after c3, the main move is d6, much more quiet. I mean, here, d6. And there are several games here. The position is maybe slightly better for white. And one of the moves, of course, would be h3, just to prevent one day this bishop jumping to g4. But Nepo played h3 immediately, and after d6, then white played c3, and we go to the same position. But Magnus was kind of annoyed, and that makes me think that his preparation versus c3 was slightly different. He didn't intend to play d6. That's why I'm offering d5 as a very active alternative. That makes sense with the preparation we've seen so far. Magnus camp, he's trying to play very active and very concrete lines. After h3, one of the interesting points is that now black doesn't have knight a5 as in game 1, because the rook is controlling that square. And then black has to play the kind of passive positions which they were trying to avoid with the black pieces. After c3, he went b4, makes a lot of sense, trying to make some activity for the rook, and white plays the Gyoko piano, very slow, d3, and soon we will reach kind of positions which happens also in the Italian game, in some lines of the Ruy Lopez, where white is slightly better. It's not a big deal, but it's a bit annoying to defend with black. We will see. First of all, let me say that after b4, if white plays d4, black can liquidate everything in the center, getting a nice position after d5, a very precise move, e5, knight e4. It's true, black has this weak pawn on c7, but he has a strong knight on e4, and this, in my opinion, is compensating. So the position is pretty equal. After d3, then, as I said, we have a slow game. Black played take, take. Now both rooks are active. And here Magnus, well, I have to say that after move 11, from move 11, Magnus was thinking quite a lot. in each move 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So it's clear he was under some pressure because Nepo was still playing very fast. In fact, he went in his preparation till move 16. This was the first move he had to think, the Russian player. We will see here. There was one game still, Balashov-Janoka played in 1992. White won. The game went knight d7. But okay, white is slightly better, bishop e3 and knight bd2. We can see the very nice setup, all pieces in very good squares. And it's clear that white is slightly better here. White won in that game. Today, Magnus, according to his style in this match, he played active d5. Well, what is the point here? He's giving up a pawn. I mean, it's clear that his martial preparation is very much in his mind. And I'm inviting you to think what would happen if white grabs the pawn. Can you think how to play with black? Okay, I gave you enough time. Sometimes chess doesn't have to be complicated. We need just to protect the knight with a move like bishop e6, and then we have this very nice threat, bishop f6, and the central position of black pieces is giving black enough compensation for the pawn. Well, another idea here, also, I mean, there is some threats also by X-ray on b3, and that's why it's not so simple. I mean, if d4, bishop f6, for example, rook e1, we can already play some tactics. Knight takes c3, and we take on b3 later, with an advantage for black later taking on d4. Finally, it is going to be black who is going to be a pawn up. So white has to be careful, and that's why instead of e d5, white tried another move. Just one little thing, what would happen if bishop a4 here? This was an interesting question, because if black protects the knight, then this is gonna fall. It's not so easy to answer. I think black's idea was to take on e4, and if white takes on c6, take on f3, bishop f3, bishop d6, maybe protecting the pawn, but probably here white is slightly better, in my opinion. Some ideas just to make some pressure on the center. But okay, the way Nepo played, it's also quite normal. Knight bd2. Now at any moment black has to be ready to meet e takes d5, and that's why probably Magnus decided to liquidate the tension in the center with d4, d4, and now he plays bishop d6, which makes sense, overprotecting the pawn on e5, and he's ready sometimes to bring the knight to g6 and to get a more standard comfortable position. The next moves, they were thinking both quite a lot. This, I think, it was already the end of Nepo's preparation, and I must say I'm not fully happy how he played. Well, in fact, the next moves, yes, but we will see soon that he probably missed a good opportunity to squeeze a very nice, interesting advantage in this game. White played queen c2. White is slightly better because this knight is badly placed, you see, in these positions. And also black has some little problems to develop his c8 bishop. It doesn't have good squares, you see. And well, the game continued with h6. This move looks more or less necessary one day to control g5, no jumps. Knight f1, this is logical. Knight e7. Both sides improve the position of his pieces, and after bishop e3, I like this position. It's very nice to take a picture and look at the white pieces, look at the black pieces. We have complete symmetry on the king side, if you see. All pieces are symmetrical, even the pawns are everything. I don't want to draw every single square, but you can see that the two knights, 4 pawns, and the kings are symmetrical. But what are the difference? One difference is that white has active rook, but the main difference is about the bishops. The bishops, white bishops, are excellently placed, and the black bishops are quite poorly placed. So that makes a huge difference in the position. Also, the queen is better on c2. If black would have pawn on c6, queen on c7, then okay, that would be also good for black. But it's clear that white is ahead, and sometimes he's ready to jump and to create some problems. Here, Magnus was thinking for a while, the position is pretty difficult to play for black. How to play? Let's have a look. I mean, if we say, okay, I don't care to get double pawns, I play bishop e6 anyway, that makes sense sometimes. Here, black gets the f file, which looks quite promising, but there are weaknesses, quite serious weaknesses, and white can make use of them, opening the game on the, playing on the queen side. After c4, he wants to play c5 and then later queen to c4, making a lot of pressure on e6. Black can try something like that, trying to hide the bishop on a safe square, trying to protect, but white is much better here. I mean, the knight is tied to the defense of e5, the bishop is better than the other bishop. In general, all white pieces are better, and he can continue getting the initiative on the queen side, and this position can very soon become unplayable for black, probably pretty lost. So bishop e6 is not such a good idea. We need to prepare it, but if we play queen e7, which is the typical move to play bishop e6, we have to be ready to meet knight f5, and this is very unpleasant, because if black takes, then the knight is in a big trouble, because if it jumps to f4, bishop f4 is winning, because the ping. We can see how important to have the rook on e1. So it's you know how to understand, if you work with computers, how to understand that the position is bad for black. The computer is showing 0.1 with which move? With queen e7. Computer says queen e7 is the best move, and if knight f5, then queen d8. Well, maybe computers can play like this, but humans, we don't want to play like this. This looks very ugly. I mean, to lose to tempi in this position cannot really be too good. But maybe computers can hold it, but we don't care. I mean, we are human. That's why I don't really pay attention to move queen e7, even if it's the first line, main line for the computer. I don't like it. Magnus was thinking the same, and he found, I was thinking bishop d7, maybe with idea queen c8 and bishop e6. I thought this could be the best. But he went queen e8, which is also interesting. He wants to play bishop e6. But somehow I don't like queen e8, because black pieces can get cramped very soon. You will see, this was the critical moment of the game, in my opinion, move 20. Nepo was thinking here for more than 10 minutes, but he didn't find the best move, in my opinion. How would you play here with white? How to increase pressure? The most obvious moves are something like knight f5, but now the problem is that black has some tactics, because the queen is protecting too many things, and maybe black can play knight takes e4 here. And well, I mean, it has to be checked, but computer likes this for black, and I believe if computer likes these tactics, it means they are good. So knight f5, we cannot still play it. And then one idea would be to play knight d2. Now we are ready to jump knight f5 probably, and also knight c4 sometimes. But the problem is that black plays bishop e6. Then if he develops his last piece, the position is going to equalize slowly, going to equality. So we need something faster. And in the game, he played rook e d1, which was not fast at all. I mean, because in fact, I'm not even sure that the rook is better on e1 or on d1. So this gave Magnus time to play bishop e6, and we will see that the game got immediately equal. Okay, white played bishop a4. Still, there was some little pressure. We will see. We will come back later to move 20 to see what was better. But let's first see what happened in the game, because it was not too exciting. After knight d2, black trade everything, and very important move rook a8. So they are trading pieces, and it's true white still slightly better here. but there is not enough material, and we will see that very soon Magnus created like a bunker. You see, a position which rock solid with a knight on e6. This was an excellent defensive maneuver. White is also improving his pieces. Now he was training to take on d6, and now he probably wanted to take on d6, but the problem is if he takes, black is not forced to take with the pawn. He can take with the knight, because after knight e5, knight e4, and this is completely equal. So that's why Nepo played f3 to protect e4, and now he wants to take on d6. And at this moment it's very interesting because Vishianand, he was commenting on the FIDE website, he was thinking, why not h5? This was like very natural move, just to play g6. But the problem is that white can then take on d6. And black is in trouble, because now he cannot take with the knight, because after check, we have knight c6 attacking the rook and the pawn. Maybe Vichy was missing these tactics. He comments, of course, without a computer. And after c takes d6, then white has a nice pressure with rook a7. This position can be a bit unpleasant. Black cannot play g6. He cannot get rid of this knight because check, and f7 is gonna fall. So, well, I think that's the reason that black is not in time to play h5. And Magnus, very confident, he played f6. In fact, the only move he was thinking for a while was this knight e8. This move he was thinking for more than 10 minutes. But after he found this idea, protecting everything, then the rest of the game he played very fast. I mean, he understood he's going to make a position which is rock solid. And even he allowed this beautiful knight with h5. Look at this. Fantastic knight, so ugly bishop. But I was looking at the position and I thought, okay, it's very beautiful for white, but it's impossible to create a single threat. I mean, black has a castle which cannot be broken. I mean, this pawn is giving coverage to the black king, and well, I mean, there is no plan for white, simply. I mean, the pieces control each other. The bishop controls the knight, and the other bishop controls the other knight, and it's 0.00 according to the computers, and it's absolutely right. It's impossible to imagine a plan for white, and that's why they made a few moves, and very soon they agreed to a draw in move 43 after rook d1. Okay, so what was the move on move 20, which white could make a lot of pressure? Okay, let's go to this position. Instead of rook d1, the move was c4. It's a bit unusual, I have to admit, but the idea is very simple: to push c5, and then the bishop will have to go away, and these pawns will be vulnerable. What to do? How to play with black in this position? It's not easy. One standard idea would be to answer with c6, just to be able to put the bishop on c7. Then we keep control on e5, and everything seems to be all right for black. But truth is that after knight d2, we will see that the knight is ready to jump and enter into the enemy's position, and it may have the help of the other knight, and the situation is pretty difficult for black. I will show you a sample variation. Bishop e6. This bishop is simply too strong. Black needs to get rid of it. But then, okay, all white pieces are going to get to the very nice squares. I mean, even after trade of queens, even after trade of one rook, we will see that white is dominating completely this position. In fact, probably black is lost here already with all these jumps, and it shows how difficult it can be to play without space. Of course, c6 is not the only move. After c4, there are some other ideas. One of the main ideas is bishop e6. It looks very strong because now c5 is not possible because b3 is hanging. But after bishop e6, we have a strong intermediate move, bishop a4. You see? We attack the queen and we are ready to continue with c5. Probably the best thing black can do here, well, I don't know. I was analyzing a bit this position, but it looks very difficult to play with black. I mean, for example, if queen e7 looks pretty bad, we have already the move c5 winning a piece. So we need something else. If queen c8, then I was analyzing c5, and you can see that the bishop goes to e7, and suddenly white has easy ideas to attack some sensitive points for black. Knight d7, now we can jump, we can even play here. It's complete domination, and black is with very few space for his pieces. So after bishop a4, my opinion is that well, c6 is also difficult to recommend, because white attacks the bishop, and for example, after bishop c7, already bishop c5, and again black is forced to play in a very ugly way, probably a lost position. So after bishop a4, the best thing black can do is to try to trade some pieces. When you have few space, you should try to trade pieces. Then, okay, it's like if you live in a flat 40 meters, it's very small flat, but okay, if you live alone, it's not so bad. If you live with 3 children, things are a bit more difficult. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have children. You should, of course, but try to buy a bigger flat, or house. Okay, so bishop d7. With so many jokes, I lost what I was going to say. I was analyzing this position, and it's true that black is in trouble here. Look, we can play c5, and if bishop e7, knight f5, white is dominating completely, and probably the best thing to do is bishop a4, but then I think it's clever to keep queens, just to make more pressure, to take with the rook, and after bishop e7, we continue with knight f5, and really, it's a position which is difficult to play for black. I would say it's not still lost, but very close, because well, I mean, white has a lot of trumps here. These pawns are going to be very weak. White has a beautiful knight. There are reasons to believe that white is much better here. But how to play against c4? I don't know. Computer is offering this move. Wow, such an ugly move, c5. Now this is very bad. White still has some jumps. I was checking a bit, bishop a4. Okay, what to do? Queen e7, knight f5. Also bishop c6 is very beautiful, and bring the bishop to d5. White is better. I mean, even after c5, which computer is giving, I have the feeling that white is much better, and this is probably a very good opportunity which was missed by the Russian challenger. Finally, we had this position which was completely drawish, and the result, it's 2.5, 2.5, 5 games already played. With Nepo played 3 times with white, so now Magnus has the initiative. They will have tomorrow a rest day, Thursday and Monday they rest. So we will be back on Friday to see Magnus playing with the white pieces, and we hope that one day, sooner or later, we will have a decisive game. I don't care if Magnus wins or Nepo wins, but the chess world, the media, we all need a decisive game, please. Anyway, congratulations to the players. They are playing very well, really, with very few mistakes. And I have the feeling that Nepo doesn't really believe that he can win. He's so far doing very well. When he got into Magnus preparation, he played very well. He solved all opening problems. And when he was pressing with the white pieces, he got some really good opportunities, like in today's game with this 20 c4. We will see how the match continues, but okay, we will be telling it to you with all details here on the Internet Chess Club. See you on Friday.